welcome back to Generation Makeup. Today we are doing a foundation demo, try on first impressions of the new Juvia'S Place I Am Magic foundation. So if that's something you would like to see, please keep on watching. Y'all, Juvia'S Place has done it. They've come out with a foundation that everyone seems to love. It claims to be full coverage. The foundation range is like actually amazing. Like it starts with the darkest shade, then goes to the lightest shade, which is different from the conventional lightest shade to darkest shade. And I honestly thought that that was a new intuitive idea. I feel like I've seen another brand do that though. I think I saw Beauty Bakery do something really similar with their foundation release. But anyways, that foundation you know, darkest to lightest idea is not done very often, and I kind of like seeing it. So if y'all want to see how I did this eye look, that'll be a later video. Right now I just want to focus on the foundation. I have nothing on my face. Let me go ahead and prime. Like, I really just want to like go ahead and jump into this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and prime. And I cannot wait to try this foundation. I know that I'm probably gonna love it because I do have oily skin, and matte foundations tend to do the best on my skin. And like from the reviews I've seen, everyone seems to love this foundation. So we went to the store and we tried on a few shades, we being my mother and I, and we came to the conclusion that Rio was my shade, even though it looked like it might have been too dark for me, but I don't think that's the case because the center of my face is always lighter than the rest of my face. So I'm going to try out this foundation, and even if it isn't my color, I'm still going to give my honest review, kind of disregarding that fact, because even though a shade isn't your shade, you can still see how the formula is, and even if you like the formula or the finish. So it looks like this. It's like a nice orangey coral packaging. It's 1 fluid ounce. 1 whole fluid ounce, and the shade name is right here on the back. It's very travel friendly. Like glass bottles sometimes might not be because they can break and pumps can malfunction, so something like this that's a squeezy bottle is pretty foolproof. So I'm gonna apply it on the back of my hand. Ooh, okay. That might have been a little too much, to be honest, but let's just see. This looks like it's gonna be my shade. I did not get the concealer because they didn't have the concealer in store, the one store that we went into. We called around and the only store that had the foundation didn't have the concealer, which was strange. So we just ended up getting the foundation. I'm gonna use a different concealer other than the Juvia'S Place one. I'm gonna go on and blend this out. I was a little bummed that they didn't have the concealer. Wow. Okay, I think maybe I applied too much. As I'm blending this out, I can see what the true color is. And this color, Rio, is said to have olive undertones. And I do definitely see the olive undertones. However, I think that maybe the shade isn't mine, because it's looking very orange, and maybe that's just my eyes. Maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but it doesn't look like it's my shade. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's too dark for me, because it definitely doesn't. I don't think it matches my neck. I'm looking in the mirror, and although it is really good coverage, I can still see some blemishes, and I don't want to add another coat because I don't think it's my shade. But it is really good coverage. Like, although I can still see a few blemishes, they're not as obvious as they used to be. So I'm gonna put on my concealer, and we'll see what that does. I'm thinking the shade is a little too dark for me, but because it is the summertime and I am going to get darker, that's probably not too big of a deal. Now that I've applied and blended out my concealer, I like the tone a little bit more. I think the foundation matches my undertone, however, I think it's a little too dark. So that is a bummer, because I thought it would be, you know, my perfect shade, but that's okay because I'll get darker during the summer. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my face, and I'll come back to you guys with my final conclusion of this foundation. Okay, you guys, this is the finished look. I actually really like the foundation. At first I thought it didn't match me, but now after, I finished my makeup, I feel like it matches me better than some of the foundations that I use day to day. I think the undertone is perfect. I'm looking in the mirror now, and I think it matches my neck almost perfectly. And I say almost because I think there's some discoloration in my neck, but other than that, I think it matches wonderfully. I really like this foundation. Like, I'm almost in shock. I almost can't believe that it matches me better than, the foundations I use almost every day. Like, I thought that I was good at matching my foundations. I guess, I should start using this as a guideline instead of just my own intuition. I really love how this looks. Not only is the foundation looking wonderful, my makeup, like in general, is looking really wonderful. I think my eye look goes really nicely with my outfit and my lipstick. I think that everything is just cohesive and put together really well. Now, my conclusion about this foundation is that the undertone is wonderful, as I said before, and I love the finish. It doesn't feel matte, like dry matte, but it doesn't feel dewy. It's a little bit tacky, just a little bit, but it's kind of a natural finish as opposed to dewy or matte. It could definitely be matte with like a thin layer of powder would make it matte. It doesn't dry down like some foundations, like the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Foundation. That one dries down, and I noticed I made the grave mistake one day of not waiting until it dried down completely to add powder, and I ended up looking like a cakey, creasy mess. So I'm glad this foundation doesn't dry down, like there's no dry time with it. This foundation, a little bit of this foundation goes a long way. I applied too much to the back of my hand, and then I applied too much to my face. I think that might be why I didn't like how it looked. I think the coverage, although it isn't like 100% full coverage, it's great coverage. Like, it's covering most of my blemishes here and here, but I do see one spot that's sticking out right there, but to some it might not even be noticeable. Overall, I think this foundation is a 100% win. I really am appreciative of the fact that they took undertones into consideration instead of just, different shades. I think undertones are so important because I see people, walking around with foundations that are their shade, but not their undertone. So like you can see, even though they're the same color, kind of, the same tone, you can see that maybe the foundation is a little bit too yellow and their skin is more neutral. So I, really appreciate the fact that Juvia'S took into consideration undertones. A lot of people kind of pretend like olive undertones don't exist, and because I have an olive undertone, I feel like I have a harder time finding foundations that match me really well, and I honestly don't think I found a better match in foundation than this one. I'm gonna be honest, that's really how I feel. At the beginning I was a little iffy, but now I just, I'm feeling myself so hard. This foundation is wonderful. Now if you guys have any questions for me, leave them in the comments and I will answer them as good as I can in the situation. I will answer them as well as I can. Let me retry that. If y'all have any questions about this foundation, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as honestly and as well as I can. I haven't tried, all the foundations in the world, so I'm not an expert when it comes to foundation, but when it comes to foundation on my skin, on my oily skin, I know what I like and I know how I like it. I really do like this foundation. Now, I don't know if it'll hold up, 8 hours of working and sweating. I don't know if it'll break apart when I get really oily. I'm hoping that it won't, but it's a matte foundation supposedly, so I don't think it will, but you really never know with new foundations. I think that I really like this foundation. Like, I really do. I didn't notice like any fragrance, which is great because you don't want it to irritate your skin. And I didn't notice any, you know, patchiness. I didn't notice any creasing too much. But, you know, foundation texture-wise and color-wise, it's perfect. So that's it for today's video. If you think you like this video, please leave a like and that helps me out a lot. Subscribe, go ahead and join this family. We are pretty friendly over here and we have a lot of laughs. Sister Hawkins, I see you, and like you comment on all of my videos and I really appreciate your support. You mean a lot to me, all of you do. Anyways, honey pots, stay well and stay beautiful. Bye bye.